From stories across the globe to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir.
And I am Dishan Veerakoon, and here are your headlines for tonight.
3 housing projects comprising 3,300 housing units vested with families lacking satisfactory facilities in Colombo. The General Secretary of the UPFA says future decisions will be taken preserving the identity of the party and the country. Applications for postal voting of the Alpitiya Pradeshya Sabha elections close at midnight today. A special discussion between the Premier and a delegation from India. The World Health Organization introduces a successful vaccine against malaria. We move on to those and other stories in detail now. Today is Binara Full Moon Poya Day. The Bhikkhuni order gifting Buddhist priesthood and higher ordination to 500 Buddhist nuns, including Mahaprajapati Gautami, is mentioned in the history of the Sasana as commenced on a Poya Day such as today. Lord Buddha gave his approval for the establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sasana on a request made by Ananda Thera. The Ashtagara Dharma on behalf of Bhikkhunis was also imposed on a day such as today. This Poya is considered as the interim Poya of the Vas season. The Buddha, highlighting the value of non-procrastination, exhorted the Varna Jatakaya on a Binara full moon Poya day. Buddhists the world over engaging meritorious acts which include Amisa and Pratipatti Puja in view of Binara full moon Poya day. The live telecast on Binara Poya Day Saddharma Varsha, organized by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, was held at the Godapitiya Jetavana Rajamahawihara at Akurasa. A number of programs, including the observance of Attasil, devotees taking part in Buddha Puja, conducting Dhamma dialogues and other religious activities were telecast live throughout the day. The 54th Dhamm Sabhava of the Sadaham Yatra Dhamma Sermon series, which is conducted on every full moon Poya day, was held today as well at the Godapitiya Jetavana Rajamahawihara at Akurasa in Mathura under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. Subsequently, the President called on the Chief Prelate of the Giruvapattua and the Chief Adhikarana Sanganayaka of Gaul and Mathura, Dharmakirti Sri Sarnapala Venerable Agalakada Ratnapala Thera, and obtained blessings. The Dhamma sermon was conducted by Venerable Gampaha Mahanama Thera of Ruwanwala Dhamm Sakviharaya. The President was present for the Dhamma sermon as well.
Now, the 62nd State Literature Awards was held at the BMICH under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena last evening. The 2019 State Literature Awards ceremony was organized by the State Literature Advisory Council and the Department of Cultural Affairs together with the Ministry of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs. Over 2,800 literacy works authored in the Sinhala, Tamil and English mediums were given consideration. Awards were presented across 21 categories, including the Best Novel, Short Story, Book of Poetry, Collection of Songs, Youth Literature Work, Children's Literature, Artistic and Research Literature Work, and Cinema and Television Literature. In the Sinhala medium, Makarananda, authored by Virajini Tennakoon, was awarded the Best Novel. Aluva Karai, authored by S.A. Udayan, was awarded the Best Novel in the Tamil medium, whilst Karkiyan, authored by Elmo Jayawardhan, was awarded the Best Novel in the English medium. Ratna Abhidhana Literacy Award, which is a once-in-a-lifetime achievement, was awarded to trilingual authors this year as well. In the English medium, Kamala Vijayratnarada, in the Tamil medium, Ayature Santhan, and in the Sinhala medium, Professor Walter Marasinghe received awards from the President. Minister Sajid Premadasa, veteran authors and a large gathering was present.
Three housing projects on behalf of families lacking facilities in the Colombo city were vested with the public today. This is the first time 3 housing projects of this nature were vested with the public at the same moment. The cost involved has been 15,924 million rupees. The three flats have been named Mihijaya Sevana, Helamuthu Sevana and Ranmuthu Sevana. The flat comprises of 3,300 housing units. The project was launched by the Ministry of Megapolis and Western Development and was intended for residents in the Henamula area of Colombo 15 living under unsatisfactory conditions. A housing unit consists of 2 rooms and all required basic facilities and is worth 5 million rupees. These housing complexes, which comprises of 15 stories, are equipped with elevators, community halls and other facilities. At a ceremony held at the Sukadadasa Indoor Stadium to vest the project with the public, the deeds of 50 housing units were presented by the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said they have the capability to work as a government. Previously, over 60 years, 12,230 houses were constructed. However, today, 12,885 houses have been constructed, and the government will culminate the housing projects with the construction of 20,000 houses. In Colombo, that are 75,000 houses already, another 20,000 houses will be built. The Premier stated within the next 5 years, there is no problem to construct not just 20,000, but even 30,000 houses. The Premier also stated the Barala area, the Colombo East area as well as the Greater Colombo areas needs to be upgraded. What is seen now is just the beginning. It is from here that we begin the creation of the megapolis. The Premier noted all this was implemented not by a dictatorship but by a minority government. These were implemented not by a government that goes on a white van spree. The Premier concluded whilst upholding democracy in the country, the housing issue of the population was addressed, thereby constructing 12,000 houses.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Mahinda Amarveera, says in the coming days a decision will be taken as a party preserving the identity of the party and the country. He expressed these views after a ceremony held today. General Secretary of the UPFA, Mahinda Amarveera, said the SLFP is not prepared to go on a journey with the UMP. Their hope is to gather the leftist forces and go forward. That will happen once their discussions are successful. At present, discussions are underway with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, and the SLFP has put forward its proposal for the discussions to be successful. MP Amarveera says they have in no way requested or discussed on the portfolios or privileges. He says their main intention is a program to take the country forward. He also stated certain statements voiced by MPs of the Pohotua are not healthy for the discussions. He added those who voiced various statements will have to take responsibility for defeat.
General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara, says steps will be taken to provide solutions to the issues faced by disabled war heroes upon discussions with the President. MP Dayasiri Jayasekara arrived at the sit-in protest organised in front of the Colombo Fort railway station by disabled war heroes and exchanged views with them. The families and relatives of deceased and disabled war heroes held a protest in Colombo the day before yesterday regarding salary issues. The issues have been brought to the attention of the Presidential Secretariat and the Prime Minister's office. General Secretary of the SLFP, MP Dayasiri Jayasekara, said since disinformation on this situation is circulating, it could result in incorrect decision-making. The President has a Defence Advisory Committee and the Parliament intends to inquire into this matter. He added they have to speak on behalf of the war heroes and that is why he arrived at the protest scene. He says war heroes do not have a political party and they should not be pushed in that way.
Now, acceptance of applications for postal voting of the Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha elections closes at midnight today. Public officials to be deployed on election duties in the Alpiti electorate, officers engaged in essential services, police, tri-forces and civil security personnel are eligible to cast post votes. The Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha elections are to be held on the 11th of next month. This election, which was delayed due to the rejection of certain nominations, is being held upon a Supreme Court verdict which ruled that the local government election for the Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha be held with immediate effect. According to the 2018 electoral register, 53,384 individuals are eligible to vote. Now, Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya says the decision to call for a presidential election rests with the Elections Commission and not with political parties. He expressed these views speaking at a media briefing held in Colombo today. Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya said the Elections Commission after the 15th of September can announce the date of the presidential election. Since the 15th of September is a Sunday, the closest next date is the 16th. However, the Elections Commission has decided to announce a suitable date as there is time for the 16th of September to the 15th of October to make the announcement. The Chairman of the Elections Commission emphasized it is the Elections Commission that has the sole authority to decide on the date of the presidential election. The date on which nominations are to be called can be announced after the 16th of October. However, he said this will not be delayed and by the end of September this date will be announced.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, Professor Uppal Disanayake says the university has emerged at a prominent position in the local and foreign fields of research as a number of research activities conducted by the university have gained local and international recognition. The Vice-Chancellor expressed these views addressing the ceremonial opening of the International University Research Forum, which was held at the premises of the Faculty of Agriculture at the University of Peradeniya recently. The Dutch ambassador to Sri Lanka, Tanja Gongrip, was the chief guest. This international research session, which has been organized for the 22nd time, is attended by experts from a number of countries including Australia, China, India, Japan and the Netherlands.
Sri Lanka is a country that feels the effects of climate change. Dry areas are getting drier, wet areas are getting wetter. This requires research into climate change and adaptation. Independent scientific research is tremendously important. We see everywhere in the world that partly in reaction to globalization, people tend to pull back behind their border. In the Netherlands we say behind the dikes. People are not investing enough in challenges like climate change or even ignoring and denying them, which is an inconvenient development considering that this is the moment we should clasp our hands together. We need to cooperate instead of cohabit or just cohabit. Scientific research forms the basis of concerted action to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. If we do not agree on the problem, we will not be able to solve it together. For instance, research in the field of agriculture is essential for the livelihoods of many Sri Lankans. Around a quarter of Sri Lankans, as you know, are employed in agriculture, and agricultural research can provide a common understanding, new methods of irrigation, for instance, or create drought-resistant crops. It can also increase productivity and profitability, and this will not only benefit the farmers but also the consumers and food security in general in Sri Lanka.
Now, Manoj Sirisena has been appointed to the parliamentary seat fallen vacant due to the demise of MP Chandrasiri Gajadira. The Gazette notification in this regard was issued yesterday. Manoj Sirisena, who contested on the UPFA ticket through the Mathura district, is next in line in the preferential votes list. Thereby, he feels the vacancy arisen in Parliament owing to the demise of Chandrasiri Gajadira. Manoj Sirisena, who was a former minister of the Southern Provincial Council. Meanwhile, it is reported the General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance has notified the Elections Commission to reappoint Shanta Bandara to the UPFA National List slot fallen vacant owing to his resignation.
Indian parliamentarian Kanimozhi Karunanidhi and a delegation representing the central government of India and the Tamil Nadu and Kerala states held a discussion with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Temple Trees today. The delegation cited the long-standing friendship between India and Sri Lanka and emphasized the need to further enhance bilateral relations. The Premier apprised the delegation on the steps taken to launch the scheduled direct flight services from the Palali Regional Airport to 4 destinations in India. Minister Rauf Hakim also participated in the discussions.
Now, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has decided to hold a number of district conferences alongside its anniversary celebrations. The first will be held on the 15th of this month at Ratnapura under the patronage of Chairman of the party, President Maithripala Sirisena. The 68th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was celebrated on the 3rd of this month under the theme The Decision in the Right Direction. General Secretary of the SLFP parliamentarian Dayasri Jayasekara says during this theme a series of district conferences will be held. General Secretary of the SLFP, Dayasri Jayasekar, said they hope to present the policies of the party when facing the forthcoming presidential elections, general election and during a 5-year tenure of administration. He further stated they hope to vest with the citizens their policy statement titled Sunila Janavadaya.
සුනිල ජනවාදය කියන අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයේ ජනගත කිරීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියත් මෙහිදී අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න.
The series of district conferences are planned on the 15th of September in Ratnapura, on the 21st at Matale, on the 22nd at Matara, on the 29th at Kurunegala and on the 6th of October at Galle.
A once-in-a-decade mass emergence of painted lady butterflies saw nearly 500,000 recorded across the UK. Results from the big butterfly count, which took place over 3 weeks this summer, showed 30 times more painted ladies arrived in the UK than in 2018. The last big influx of migratory butterflies took place in 2009 when 11 million painted ladies were seen. The count also found other common species had a good summer, helped by fine weather. Peacock butterflies had their best summer since 2014, with a 235% increase in numbers cited compared with last year, while the marbled white saw a 264% increase. Experts are still worried about the butterfly and have suggested climate change could be having an impact on its fortunes.
Minister Sajid Premadasa says he will accept the challenge of facing the forthcoming presidential election without any fear. The minister expressed these views participating in the ceremonies to vest several reawakened villages in Kurunegala with the public. These reawakened villages have been constructed under the Semata Sevana Yali Pibidena Uda Gammana program. These were the 279th, 280th and 281st model villages that were vested with the public. The Navangama model village completed in the Naramana area in Variapola Kurunegala, the Metsirigama and Kauminigama model villages completed in Kotavahera Kurunegala were vested with the public by Minister Sajid Premadasa. These model villages comprise of 67 housing units and have been constructed upon a cost of 84.3 million rupees. A number of social welfare projects were also carried out under the patronage of the minister.
Minister Daya Gamage says steps will be taken to grant Samurdhi benefits to all low-income earning families within 1.5 months. He disclosed this move joining in the event to award letters of appointments to computer operator assistants to be recruited to Samurdhi banks. The ceremony in this regard was held in Colombo today, and permanent employment was awarded to 500 new recruits. The government's intention is to award 3,000 appointments in Samurdhi banks. Minister Daya Gamage said Samurdhi entitlements have been granted to close upon 600,000 beneficiaries. A sum of 5 billion rupees has been allocated for this purpose. There are those in villages who are eligible to benefit by the Samurdhi scheme but have still not received their entitlements. Such individuals have been encouraged to apply for Samurdhi benefits. The minister said thereby more than 300,000 applications have been received. The minister said they expect to grant Samurdhi entitlements for these applicants within 1.5 months.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan delegation attending the 42nd session of the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva emphasized that the country's national commitment and resolve to make continued progress in upholding human rights remains strong. These comments were made by the permanent representative of Sri Lanka to the UN at Geneva, Dayani Mendes.
Sri Lanka received the Working Group on Enforced or Involuntary Disappearances in November 2015. It was as part of the government's policy of open and constructive engagement with all UN human rights mechanisms. We are pleased to note that in keeping with this policy since 2015, Sri Lanka has received 10 UN Special Procedure Mandate holders, with one more visit scheduled for October this year. The implementation of many of the actions recommended by these mandate holders as oriented to our national priorities has been in the forefront of Sri Lanka's path towards reconciliation, development and protection and promotion of human rights. In May 2016, Sri Lanka ratified the International Convention on the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. The legal framework enacted in March 2018 guarantees non-recurrence and accountability for enforced disappearance. In June 2018, the government entered into an agreement with the International Committee of the Red Cross, enabling them unrestricted access to all places of detention. The Independent Office on Missing Persons was fully operationalized in 2018. All outstanding cases received from the working group have been shared with this independent mechanism. An office for reparations was established in October 2018 and operationalized this year. Certificates of absence are being issued to the families of the disappeared to access certain facilities that would be in the name of the disappeared. Accepting the OMP's recommendation, families of the missing with a certificate of absence will be eligible to monthly allowance from October 2019. A sum of rupees 500 million has been earmarked in the 2019 budget to support families of the missing and disappeared persons. Mr. President, as we proceed on our path, we urge this Council to accord due recognition to the gains made by Sri Lanka amidst numerous challenges, including a spate of terrorist attacks on Easter Sunday this year that has compelled Sri Lanka to realign its immediate priorities. Our full statement will be uploaded on the HRC extranet. I thank you.
Welcome back. Now in sports news, an 8-member squad will represent Sri Lanka at the Weightlifting World Championships. This event will take place in Thailand. The Weightlifting World Championships will be underway from the 16th to the 27th of this month. The Sri Lankan team will leave the island tomorrow. The team comprises of 6 sportsmen and 2 sportswomen. They are Indika Disanayaka, Tivanka Palangasinghe, Chaturanga Lakmal, Sudesh Piris, Hansani Gomez and Chamari Varanakula Surya, who underwent training at the Torrington Weightlifting Stadium. Chintana Geeta Vidanage and Dilanka Isurukumara underwent training at the Kurunagala Weightlifting Training Institute. The chief coach of the squad is R.B. Vikramasinghe, whilst Rukshan Gunatilaka and M.B. Jayatilaka will be assistant coaches.
And before we wind up, a quick look at the weather. Met Department says that prevailing showery conditions over the island is expected to continue during the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Galle Matra districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur in eastern, Ulva, north central, central and northern provinces after 2 p.m. and fairly heavy falls about 75 millimeters are likely at some places.
And that is a wrap of tonight's Primetime News. Until we meet again next time, do take care and good night.
Good night.